This is really exciting for us. Nat and I are like the old girls in the room with all the young'uns here.
The old chooks.
The old chooks. So it's our absolute pleasure to introduce you to Lauren Tambay from travelingweasels.com, and that's with double L for all of our North American friends. Yep. And Casey, who is actually the cousin of Marilyn, who we've known online for a little while now, from milesandmoxie.wordpress.com. And Casey's got a really cool Instagram that he's actually got some great photos from his travels on. So we'll share all the links underneath here. But really just to introduce you guys, like maybe we could try to see, I don't know, if we'll go around the screen here and tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now and how old you are and when did you first discover house sitting. Lauren Tambay, you're the authors of the book about house sitting in Australia. We'll start with you guys.
Okay. So, hello, my name is Tambay. I am 28 years old. I'm from Germany, and I discovered house sitting with my fiancée Laura here about 4 years ago now. And I just did a simple Google search. I was interested in alternative lifestyles, particularly lifestyles that don't require paying rent, because our rental situation was not good, to say the least. And yeah, that's how we discovered house sitting. And then we just found out about certain websites that, you know, specialize on house sitting. And then we just applied on there. And then we started house sitting in Australia. And then we wrote a book about that. And then we made a website. And now we have a YouTube channel and Instagram and whatnot. And now we're doing that full time.
You are. And you're rocking it too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you.
You're now officially travel bloggers, getting endorsed and traveling the world, and there's no going back to kind of normal life for you guys.
That's right. Yeah. So we started just house sitting, and now, like you said, we're working with travel related brands and hotels. But house sitting enabled us to really set our business up and keep costs to a minimum, living cost, rental costs, you know, internet, all that. And it got us to experience Australia well, not only Australia, really Europe as well. And we got to meet incredible people as well. And we've seen what countries are really like. You know, you don't just get to see the tourist side of the country, you get to see what it's really like. And yeah, we're really grateful to have this lifestyle now.
That's awesome. How much would you estimate your accommodation is now in house sitting as opposed to other travel?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, what would you say?
Probably a third. So a third house sitting, third working with companies, and a third just Airbnb or family, you know, other kind of things.
Yeah. Excellent. And so you're from the UK, Laura?
Yeah, I'm from the UK and I'm 25. So.
Excellent. And what were you guys doing before you started doing travels?
So I was at university and Tambay was working in retail.
Excellent.
So we were both living in England at the time.
Yeah. I was going to say, your German accent is seriously not there, Tambay.
No, it's totally not.
Thank you.
You didn't say you were German, you wouldn't even know.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like that with Australian for us.
All right.
Fair enough.
Let's go over to Marilyn, because I want you to introduce Casey as well. So you're the one who sort of reached out to us a little while ago. I remember you were saying, hey, my cousin wants to go to Australia. Do you know anything about flights or any ideas for that? And it was like, oh, we haven't been in Australia for ages, actually.
I don't know anything about flights to Australia.
Yeah, definitely. So I actually found out about the entire location independent lifestyle in 2015 through Travis Sherry and Jason Moore. And through them, I found out about you two. And I thought, wow, house sitting, you know, free accommodations with amazing pets most of the time in awesome places. Who wouldn't want to do that? So I looked into it further. I myself have done one awesome house sit outside of my area of California. I guess I should introduce myself. So again, Marilyn, I'm now 27 and I live here in San Diego, California. And the house sit that my boyfriend and I did was just this past summer, or June of 2015, and that was in Hawaii for just under 2 weeks. And my cousin Casey, who's joining us today, actually watched our dogs while we were house sitting, watching other dogs. So we made a fun vacation out of it. But that was a great opportunity, just awesome, kind of a once-in-a-lifetime awesome Hawaii opportunity. And so that was my experience with the trustedhousesitting.com. And my cousin Casey wanted to take an adventure in Australia. So he actually did that. I'll have him tell you more about that later. But I wanted to get him into more travel as well, and he was interested. So I told him about you two, and I kind of correlated through Facebook and brought the two together and gave him my information about house sitting and kind of everything about location independence, and then traveling through Australia as well.
Okay, so
cool.
Casey, had you come across Lauren Tambo's book before you left, or were you just relying all on Marilyn?
It was a little bit all on Marilyn. So I wasn't prepared at all before I left. The only thing I had was just my hostel booked for 3 weeks, flying to Australia. That was it. I didn't know anybody there. I didn't have any plan where I was going to go. I was just, well, if I have a hostel, I'll be for New Year's. I'll be in Sydney. I'll figure it out then. So my name's Casey. I'm 26 years old. I'm in Ontario, California. I found out of house sitting through my cousin Marilyn. The same thing when she went over to Hawaii, and about the whole location independent. And we were working at the same place in San Diego. I was living with her. And it was an all right job. It paid well, but it was the same thing every single day. I wanted something.
This is amazing because I think Casey's actually at work and he's got the dodgiest internet. So, Lauren, are you house sitting at the moment, or you're in Italy, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
That's really funny. This is another reason why we don't need to have jobs, because your internet's no good. Oh, he's back.
Oh,
there
we've got him back. We're just
Kind of
saying that your
paused out.
internet's really crap at work.
It's terrible. We're next to the airport, so we have to get internet by satellite. It's not as bad as Australia internet, though.
That's
All
very
right.
true.
Okay, so we're going to have to make it. Sorry, I haven't been to Australia yet, Marilyn, but we're going to have to talk about Australia.
Oh, that's okay.
With you guys with writing your book, was that you were writing the book while you were house sitting in Australia, or was it sort of after the event?
It was afterwards, and it's partly about the house sitting adventures we had in Australia, but also about how to house sit for the first time. So when we were in Australia, we always came across new situations, and we wanted to kind of share that with people and make sure that they didn't make the mistakes we made and things like this.
Well, like what? Like what mistakes did you make then?
That's a good question. Not just little things, not even mistakes, more like what do you do when the dog misses the owner? And the first time we came across that, we thought, oh, what do we do? And then, we worked it out. And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we made some mistakes, but they're all just us being silly, really. Like we underestimated how big Australia really is. So we yeah, I know, right? Well, we stayed in Australia for 9 months, and we house sat back to back.
Wow.
And sometimes we had house sits in Western Australia, and then next week, Eastern Australia, and then South Australia, and so on. And we organized some of the house sits before we even got to Australia. And some of them we only managed to get a few weeks in advance or so. So it was sometimes quite short notice. And well, let's just say we had to book a lot of flights and fly long distance and take a lot of buses. And I think we underestimated just how big Australia is. It's really beautiful. We're really grateful that we've done all that. And we've seen so much of Australia in those 9 months. It's really once in a lifetime thing. But it is really gigantic. It's huge. It's really, really big.
Yeah,
Which is
But it's such a nice way to see the country, or any country really. And Casey, I'm sure you feel the same way too, is that you do get to have that real local experience with house sitting. It's not being a tourist anymore. It's not looking out of a hotel room and doing the tourist circuit of doing all the lining up and, with all the other tourists with the cameras and bits and pieces. It is such a different experience and a way of seeing a place. How did you feel about your trip in Australia, Casey, with that whole local experience?
I definitely enjoyed it so much more because when I first went to Australia, again, I was living in the hostels. I got a job in Sydney. I stayed there for 3 months.
Okay.
And then I had my girlfriend come out, and I figured that with both of us together, we'd be able to house it much easier. So when we did that, we were first in the suburbs of Sydney, and it was seeing a different part of the town, seeing where the locals live, everything like that. Then when we went to Melbourne, when we went down to Canberra, we really got to see more of the country. It's not just staying in the hotspot or just at the hostel and only being confined to where I could walk to or take the bus. It was actually being further away, being out there. And as they were saying, Australia is much bigger than I anticipated. I eventually bought a car, but when I was with our first 2 house sits was carrying all of our luggage, our food, everything, and getting on the bus, getting on the train, and walking. Because there's some spots or the houses where they weren't next to a bus stop. It's a 20-minute walk to the closest bus stop, or the buses show up late. And the other issue is dealing with holidays. When we were there, it was generally during the holidays, everything is shut down. All the markets are closed, all the stores are closed, the buses don't run as often. And so it was a little bit difficult with that. So having a car helped.
Perhaps Australia is better known as maybe the holiday nation. Because
I don't do a lot of work there. There's a lot of days off.
Well, I mean, one thing is, like, Marilyn sort of said, I'm not sure if I should come in. I've only done 1 house sit. But one thing that Casey mentioned before is that there are so many house sits in Australia, probably like in comparison to the United States, because we do get more holiday time than people in North America. And I don't know, like, I think Australia is probably a really great starting point, and I'm really glad that you guys have actually had that experience, because there is just so many to choose from. Every time I go into these sites, I'm like, no, I don't want to look at Australia. I don't want to go back to Australia. But for you guys, there's so much to choose from.
I think it's a great way for young people, or any people really, to go and explore that part of the world, because it's so far away. You've really got to go for a period of time like you guys have done, which is awesome. But house sitting, if you were going to go for 6 months and you were going to pay for accommodation in New Zealand or Australia,
that would cost a bomb.
If you've been working for a lifetime, you still probably couldn't pay for it. So I think house sitting really, in some ways, is actually the only option other than going backpacking. And I think it's just such a nice option to have a home and a kitchen and some pets to play with and stuff, rather than, what you were doing, Casey, being in a backpacker or a hostel sort of thing, where you still get to mix with people, which is awesome in its own right and experience. But I don't know, it's just sort of like a different way of traveling.
Different experiences, different feels to it. Being in the hostel, you're kind of involved with everybody. Everybody's around, all the noise. You can't control anything there. People are going through your food, everything like that. In the house, it's more controlled. You get to set what you want to do, what time you're getting up, what you're going to be doing today, especially with the animals, how many groceries you can get, and you have more space in the fridge.
You can also get more work done too, I suppose. Like for you, Laura and 𝗏𝗏, you were working, like you've got a blog and you've got stuff to get done. House sitting gives you that space to actually get some creative projects off the ground, just like we've done.
Yeah, definitely.
That's right. Yeah, and it's a great way to start a business without the additional pressure of certain expenses, like I said, and I think that really helped us. And but not only that, it was also great to have the whole house to yourself. I mean, like you just said, it would cost so much to pay for accommodation, and the accommodation we got. I mean, we stayed in houses in Australia with pools, tennis courts right by the beach, and it was really a dream come true for us. And we were fortunate enough to spend a lot of time at those beautiful Australian beaches, and we spoke to a lot of backpackers. And I remember this one particular group of German backpackers, and they were telling me that they were picking pumpkins, which it just didn't sound appealing to me, I mean, it sounded like they were setting themselves up for failure, I mean, why fly all the way around the world to do the same stuff you didn't want to do in Germany? And we get stories like that all the time. And the answer as to why all these people are doing it, it's really money or lack of money. That's the number one excuse we hear all the time, that people don't have the money. And when we present them the alternative of, house sitting, which doesn't cost any money, I mean, there's also couch surfing, for example, right, which also is free. They often say that they've never heard about it. and they always act quite surprised.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's still, I think that's probably a perfect segue into kind of, okay, never heard about it, but then there's this assumption that, oh, I'm sure it's only like the old people that do house sitting, you know, the retirees, the people who don't have to work, the people who, you know, are just going to sit around all day and, you know, walk the dogs or what have you. But, you know, you guys are great examples of getting out and doing it, because really there should be no barriers, and there are no barriers. Like, we truly believe that there is a house sit for anyone, even though house sitting is not for everyone, because there are responsibilities, and the responsibilities do come first. So Marilyn, are you actually house sitting at the moment, or are you at your own place?
I'm at my own place at the moment. I actually am probably going to start planning something in the next coming year as far as a long-term USA travel trip, trying to put some ideas together, but currently home.
All right, cool. So, the getting or the applying for the house sits, did you guys have a mindset at all? I mean, to come up with Hawaii pretty much straight off the bat, like, did you just have like we're going to get this mindset?
Well, how did I apply? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
So I definitely bothered you guys a bunch to see how to kind of put a profile and portfolio together. And we actually started by creating a little video to try to make it more personal and just show a little bit about ourselves, because you can only convey so much personality through words.
Yeah.
But really it was just trying to be transparent about how you live your life with your own animals, if you have them, and that way they can make the connection. And really it was just, we got very lucky with an older couple that just wanted to spend some time on another island actually with their family and just have their dogs comfortable at home. And they wanted someone to be able to come and enjoy their home in Hawaii for the first time if possible. Yeah. So it was really just a lucky experience that worked out.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so with applying for the house sits, was there any particular websites you were using, or did you have any kind of, you know, oh, possibly aren't going to get this, or is it just a case of, I want to go here, I'm going to apply?
Well, we use trusted house sitters a lot. It is, in our opinion, it's still the best out of all the house sitting websites. And when we first applied to house sits, God, I don't even remember, so long ago. Was there a system you were following?
The system was, what date do I graduate? And the dates after that. Okay, let's apply for that. And so we just applied just everywhere around the world. And Australia, we got a few rejections at first, but Australia was the place where we were kind of hearing the most positive things from. And it was somewhere we'd always dreamed of going to, but not really put the dream into our minds, because it was just so out there. It wasn't, okay, I'm going to buy that next week. It was, you know, I'd love to go to Australia, but I can't even imagine a world where that would be a possibility. So, yeah.
That's cool. That actually reminds us of our story. We kind of did throw a dart at the atlas to see which is the first house sit. So literally the first 3 house sits we applied for, we had to look up exactly where Panama was, because we didn't know exactly where it was. We applied to Panama, we applied to Koh Samui, and we applied to Southwest France. We got
completely
Southwest France.
Diverse.
So that was what made us go to start with.
So that headed us off in our direction from there. So yeah, it was just random.
Casey, did you join a website in Australia? Like, did you focus on Australian ones, or did you use trusted house sitters like these guys?
I did just trusted house sitters. So I already had my ticket booked going to Australia. I didn't even have a hostel. Like, when I booked the ticket, I didn't know that Australia was going to be really busy in Sydney coming up for New Year's. I didn't plan for that, that everything was going to be out. So I applied to the 5 house sits while still in the States, and I didn't get a response back from any of them. But before I left, I ended up getting a hostel for 2 weeks. And then while I was there, then I started adding more hostels. It wasn't until coming up to April, that's when I decided I wanted to start house sitting. And for Easter, it made it so much easier. There's so many more houses available that everyone's trying to leave for just for 5 days or a week. So we ended up getting 2 back to back, and it wasn't too difficult during then. And one of the ones I actually applied to before coming there was my first house sit. They didn't even see my message. They said that they received so many messages because it was over the New Year that they didn't even get to mine. She later said, "Oh, I saw that you had messaged me back in December. Sorry I didn't get to see it, but would you still like the house sit for us for Easter?"
Okay.
Very
But
cool.
that timing of the year thing is really important too. I think because you keep getting started. Like we're actually hosting the House Sitting Summit over the Thanksgiving weekend purely because there are so many listings that come up for Christmas and New Year. And that's everywhere. I mean, particularly like we've had so many people say to us, oh, we'd love to get to Europe or the UK. It's like, go at Christmas time, you're guaranteed to get a house sit. There are so many coming up, same in Australia. So that would be, I mean, I don't know, have you guys got any other tips other than maybe time of year to get that sort of first reference and get a bit of confidence knowing what you're doing?
I mean, that would be it. It's just to go when you know there's going to be holidays, a busy holiday. And for the one great thing about Australia, since it's at the seasons are opposite. So go, I would say for, like, it's kind of like our summer, your winter, and just before winter, that's when we know. So that's when we had the majority of our house sits all the way from end of March to July. Mm-hmm. We house it completely back to back the entire time. We had no difficulty finding a house sit. It was a little bit after that. That's when it got a little bit harder. So then we just lived in the car on the road.
Yeah, I think it's a good point though, because that's winter for Australia. So, you'll often find house sits are actually in places that, maybe the weather is not ideal, because that's when the homeowners go away. They go back home, they take the chance to do that. So, a lot of people go away here in Costa Rica in the wet season because they don't like that season. So
we love it.
We love it. So we get to come in, the hot, humid season sort of thing. And, you might have a really cold winter about to go to Quebec over winter, which most snowbirds then in Canada don't want to have a bar of it because they've had a lifetime of snow and they can't wait to get out. So they think we're mad wanting to go there. But for us, it's a really different experience. We've not experienced a white Christmas before. So if you're actually open to having, off season a little bit more in countries, you can really pick up some great house sets and good experiences, and be getting those assignments a lot easier.
Well, I mean, we're already heading into winter now, and you guys are in Italy, but that's a return sit, is it? You've been to Italy a few times, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. We've been to this very house, and this off-season thing you just mentioned is actually a huge benefit for us, because we just prefer less tourism or no tourism really. And it's just, I mean, to us, we're going to go after this, we're going to go to Rome and Naples and stuff. So it's really easy for us to travel within that same country and then do a house sit and then work with a hotel, or, connect our house sitting with other opportunities in each country. And so that's a great way for us to travel for now.
That's awesome. Well, we also know that with this sit it forward or stay it forward, I don't know what to call it, but like what Marilyn did, she needs house sitters in when she goes to go house sitting. So there's some good opportunities here in San Diego. I'm liking that. 2 dogs there.
Yeah, we'll be there shortly. We'd like that.
Everyone just start throwing all these house sitting opportunities at Marilyn. I think you need to come to Costa Rica. I think you need to come to Italy. We want to get to San Diego.
Most definitely. We have 3 dogs, so they're a handful.
You definitely need house sitters.
Actually, let me just tap on that for a second. There are a lot of people out there who want to go house sitting. When we ask the question, would you take house sitters in yourself? Like, would you have somebody come into your home? How does it feel for you? Because that's exactly, I mean, you had your cousin come, Casey came, but would you have somebody you don't know come into your home?
I think for myself, I'm definitely very skeptical as a person. So I would probably make that screening process. So I would be very adamant, just as I would hope someone would do for me, because you're bringing someone into your home. But definitely, I think for us, one of our 3 dogs is special, and she knows Casey very well. So that situation makes that work out.
Yeah.
So that might be something that we'd have to keep in mind with future house sits for bringing people in. But definitely, I mean, if I can take that opportunity to go somewhere and house it, I would love to return the favor as well. As long as it worked out with the dog situation.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it. Have you guys done much of the Americas at all? Lauren Tempe?
Not yet, no, but we're actually looking to go to Canada quite soon, actually, for a press trip. And then we're going to go to San Francisco after that to work with hotels. But we are looking for house sits. And we're again trying to, combine everything. And we're definitely, I mean, we're up for it, obviously.
Yeah.
All right, we'll line you up one in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
You're come down.
The Central America sort of that. Okay, so just to finish off here with it's almost like the elephant in the room when it comes to the homeowner who's looking at house sitting applications. Now, you guys mentioned that there's, a lot of homeowners, particularly through Trusted House Sitters, they get hundreds of applications. So do you feel that there is a preconceived idea that if you're young and you're traveling, that you're going to party and that you're perhaps going to be responsible in the house?
I can answer that first, I guess. And the answer is yes, but the more references we received, the less that false assumption was there. So it disappeared basically. And we now have a lot of very, very good references that, basically state that we are responsible. And we also, obviously, we document everything on our website so they can actually go onto our website, go onto our Instagram, they can go onto our YouTube channel if they prefer video, and they can actually see us house sitting or working with hotels or whatever it is that we're doing. And I think that intimacy helps us out quite a lot. So I think it helps us getting quite a lot of house sits, really. And
okay, so social media is very important. So you've got your own blog, that's huge, but the social media profiles and probably just being really transparent, saying, hey, I've got an Instagram account, I've got a YouTube account.
Giving it to the homeowners to check you out,
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, great tip, that one. And the references, also a great tip.
And just hiding those party photos on your Facebook when you need to.
We all have those.
Yeah, that's right.
I think as well, though, party people wouldn't necessarily, the party people we know wouldn't want to house sit because they think, it's boring, that's not the kind of thing I'd like to do. I don't want to be sat in the house all day. I want to be at the hostel. I want to be meeting new people and, not having space in the fridge or whatever cool people like to do.
Are we not all cool? Us digital nomads. No, you're right. It's true. It very much is. Yeah, you're either a house sitter or you're not a house sitter. I think at any age.
And we've got digital nomad friends who are hanging out in Chiang Mai and Bangkok and whatever, who are just like, I just don't want the responsibility of having to feed a dog or walk a dog, or I hate cats or whatever it is, and that's fine. It's like there's plenty of us who do love animals and do want to take the responsibility on, but I think there is an element of sort of being able to do the work. So Casey, you were working a job in Australia, but you weren't working online, is that right?
No, so I got a job at a diner in Sydney. It was just right across the street from my hostel. It's just opened up. It was an American diner. So I was like, well, I'm an American.
Perfect.
It's difficult. So I worked there for 3 months. I was working in the front. And the management started to change a little bit, and I got tired of it. And I felt I just spent too much time in Sydney, that I didn't come to Australia just to stay in Sydney, live in the hostel, go to the party, and just drink goon every day. So that's when I was like, oh, well, I already have an account for house sitting. I should look to see what's out here. And that's when the first house that we got, it was, like I said, the one that we applied previously. The second one was their first times. And with us not having any experience or any references, it was easier getting the house sitters that it was their first time too. Mm-hmm. Just because they didn't know what to go through for the process. And what I did, I'd offer them, I said, well, I'm not too far. I can actually go visit you. If you want to see kind of like an audition. And that's what we did for about 5 of them, is we would go visit them beforehand, meet with the animals, meet with the owners, see how they like us as a person. Because I can write anything down, but they don't fully know. And then also the references do help. So towards the end, it was no difficult getting any house sits that we wanted. It's just it was within the right time, if we can get there, having our references, and we just contact the person repeatedly and they feel fine with us.
That's awesome.
That's very cool.
All right, and even Marilyn, now that you've got, as you say, you're already a pet owner, that's a big reference in itself.
Yeah.
But you've got the Hawaii one under your belt now, so anytime it is you want to start house sitting, then you're ready to go.
I think, definitely trying to make a list. Being transparent and being yourself would probably be at the top of that list, and then your experience goes as well, because there may be someone who is just looking for a certain type of house sitter. Yeah. And if you show who you are and as your personality, if it doesn't click with the homeowner, say via Skype interview, then it just doesn't click and you move on to the next one.
Yeah.
You want to be comfortable in their home as well as them being comfortable with being away.
Yeah.
But that definitely helps, being transparent and just be honest.
Yeah.
And if it works, it works.
Yeah, just be yourself. Exactly right. And if you're meant to have it, definitely you'll get it. And I just wanted to point out too that there are other platforms as well. I know we've talked about Trusted House Sitters on this one, which is a very large site. So you might find a bit of competition on that one. There are other international sites available.
And the local regional sites.
And I was just going to say, if another way of doing it, if you're actually going to focus on, say, Australia or New Zealand or US or wherever, then a lot of those places actually have their own regional sites as well. And you might actually find that's a little bit easier to start with as well, rather than competing with the big international sites, is to go for those regional sites. And some of the country sits and stuff like that don't get filled as easily as Upper Manhattan and London City and Rome. So you can actually pick up some of those more remote sits a little bit easier too. So really, what I've gleaned from you guys is the name of the game is getting those references. So anything you can do to pick up even a weekend somewhere to get a reference under your belt is so worth it.
Exactly. And I'll just mention that one of these regional sites that have just launched, which means you've got a much better opportunity to get your first house sit, is actually House Sit Mexico. HouseSitMexico.com literally just launched lunchtime yesterday. So anybody who's wanting to kind of get that foot in the door, there's a lot of expats living in Mexico, and they go away a lot. And the opportunity to pick up something, or just across the border for you, Marilyn, and it's nice and easy. But it's great to start in these smaller sites and the regional sites as well. So thank you so much. I'm sure all of you have inspired everyone to get going. Not everyone understands the term gap year, but we do know of lots of people that have done sort of this gap year travel thing, and incorporating house sitting, particularly when you're a poor uni student and haven't started working and saving yet. It's a great opportunity. But it's a reminder as well that it is a value exchange. It's a win-win, and you're doing some work as such to get the free accommodation. But I don't know, do you guys agree it's pretty enjoyable work?
Very enjoyable.
Very cool. That's a consensus.
All right, so we'll have everyone's links underneath the video. And wishing Traveling Weasels all the best with your upcoming projects.
Yeah, well done, guys. You've done an amazing job.
And any extra books coming out shortly that will have on your website. And
yeah, definitely.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome.
Cool. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Marilyn.
I enjoyed this.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.